Welcome to our interview with the speaker series for the United Astrology Conference 2026. I'm Melissa, and today we are joined by astrologer Leslie Tagorda. Leslie, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I am a Hawaii-born Filipina mixed astrologer, third career astrologer. I come from a classical music background, turned web designer, and now turned brand astrologer. So I love helping other seekers and visionaries make their mark using their astrology.
That's awesome. Okay, so third career astrologer. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, thank you. So when I was, okay, can I just start at the very beginning? Because I feel
Yeah,
like let's take like the scenic route. We have a little bit of time here,
yeah.
right? Well, when I was 6 years old, that common question that we ask little children, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I absolutely knew that I wanted to study the stars. Like, absolutely 100%. But I didn't know that you could be such thing as like an astrologer. And so I thought that you had to become an astronomer. And so I went on this lifelong path of like learning astronomy, taking a lot of science classes. But every time I went to the bookstore, I found myself in the little occult section, like reading all the astrology books. I didn't know that these two things were connected. But like I said, I grew up in Hawaii, and at the time I was growing up, not only was like NASA sending space shuttles to, wherever they were going into the atmosphere, outer atmosphere. But in Hawaii, there was this big tradition of returning to prove that the ancient Polynesian voyagers could crisscross the Pacific Ocean without any technology, only using the stars, the tides, the all of the different kinds of winds and clouds and just all of the science that they already embedded in their myth. And so at this time when I was growing up, Hokulea, which was a replica of a giant voyaging Polynesian canoe, had made its first journey from Tahiti to Hawaii. And this is the time when I was growing up. So I already had like stars in my eyes and just hearing all the beautiful stories of all the exploration. And so while I was kind of studying and growing up, the clarinet fell into my lap and it just opened a lot of doors, and I just happened to be really good at it. I think that's a thing with astrologers and musicians, like there's some
Mm-hmm.
kind of connection there.
Mm-hmm.
um, and so I went on this path of a professional musicianship. I'm still actually a professional clarinetist. I play in orchestras and ensembles when I'm not running my astrology business. um, but the school that I ended up going to, I went to a very conservative, what's the word I'm looking for? Competitive school. And I think I needed to go through that school. It was like a big Saturn aspect for me. I had to
Okay.
learn like just kind of this, for me, like just kind of oppression, like really going against the grain of like what my values are, who I was, but I wasn't yet smart enough. Anyway, my professional musician life, I got burned out, moved to San Francisco, and learned technology because I absolutely love technology. And while I was here in San Francisco, I wanted to return back to music. And this is when I started my web design business. Now, little did I know at this time also that I was starting my web design business because I was really trying to find out who I was. Because when we think about a website for a business or an organization, it's like the soul of the business. You have
Mm-hmm.
to put everything onto that website, your vision, your voice, your style. And in 15 years, I built out a web and branding design firm, but my clients were always just kind of facing um, this edge of themselves. We would design these beautiful websites. We'd be guessing on the colors. We'd be guessing on the brand archetypes. We'd be guessing on all of these things that I just wanted to burn the whole thing down. I happened to be going through my Uranus opposition. I didn't know. Third career, right? So
That'll do
like
it. That'll do
that'll
it.
that'll
Yep.
do it, right? All of these challenges in my life that I had to like pick up these learning lessons were because of this, and I promise I'm getting to the point. So at this time, when I looked at my natal chart, because I'd always return to my natal chart just for hope, for clarity. This time, when I looked at my natal chart, my 15 years of brand strategy and experience, like all the how-tos, all the tips, all the tricks, but still like guessing on how to get to those answers, I could finally see it in my natal chart. I was like, oh my gosh, here's the communications key, here's the visibility key, here are like how I'm supposed to design things, here's how I'm supposed to lead, here's my soul customers, here's all the things. There was literally a brand map sitting in my astrology. And so at the time that I found that, a business coach landed in my lap, an astrology mentor landed in my lap who validated what I was
Mm.
seeing. And like literally in like 6 months, I had an entire new method that wove astrology. At first, when I started kind of like stepping out of the closet into from like business into like woo woo astrology kind of land, it took me a while to even call myself an astrologer, even though I was using astrology. And after I've been weaving astrology in my business now for about 7 years, another Saturn cycle, only now am I ready to come out into the astrology world, because I've been pretty much behind the scenes in the astrology world and just making my mark in the entrepreneurial world.
That's exciting. Okay, first of all, beautiful origins there with your history in Hawaii and the canoe. Ah, that was so beautiful. What at this point, or I guess, you're talking about kind of like
Yeah.
you're coming out now
Yeah. Into
within
the
the astrology
astrology
community.
world.
What led to that for you? What
Yeah.
changed?
What changed? It was a single person that invited me, a really good friend and astrologer, Celeste Brooks, who, I live in
Mm,
San Francisco now and she lives in Oakland. I don't even remember how we became friends, but we became friends. And she's like, Leslie, why don't you do this? Leslie, why don't you do this? And she would just like literally be sending me like applications to like, join OPA or ESAR, come to NORWAC. Oh, here's this application. I think that you really should apply for UAC, because I have been doing, like, I've been speaking and doing webinars and teaching and doing conferences, but like not in the astrological world.
hmm
And so a couple of years ago, I was one of the inner circle astrologers for Astrology Hub, like just like really unknown, like who are you? And I don't even know how they found me, but they found me. And so I started there with kind of coming out into talking to the astrological world. And because I'm a self-taught astrologer.
hmm
And I know when we were at NORAC earlier this year in 2025, Stormy had this, she had that beautiful opening about like
hmm
we're all astrologers. And that really called me in, because I felt really that I didn't belong in the astrological world simply because I was self-taught. But I also knew that I've had like lifetimes of astrology knowledge, because every time I learn something new, it just feels like a remembering.
Interesting. Okay. I like that. I like that. Um, okay. I also kind of want to go back to your science beginnings here because I think it's very easy with the way that we learn astrology now to lose the roots of, astrology and astronomy were
Yeah.
very intricately tied. Can you talk a little bit about how these like more or less previous lives that you've lived
Yeah.
have informed the way you practice
Oh,
astrology now?
yeah, absolutely. So if I think back to like the science part, and
hmm
just like growing up and living in Hawaii for like half of my life, um, astronomy and astrology are very much one and the same in Hawaii. And like the native Hawaiians will teach their children the phases of the moon, and they don't have like 4 or 8 phases of the moon. They have 29 phases of the moon, each with a specific name, each with something that they did. And their astronomy, astrology, their astro lineage is very much based on observation, just like the ancient Hellenistic astrologers and astronomers. What could you see?
hmm
And they would make, um, not only like navigational decisions, but also like oracle decisions based on what they could see. And so I thought that was beautiful. And when science and math was always very easy for me. I'm an Aquarius sun, so technology, science, math, I'm like, oh, give it all to me. And I would study at school and be super interested and just kind of naturally weave them together. And also with my spiritual background, my family has like so many religious backgrounds. I was never this person that I had to just choose one.
mm
So the science, when I went to my university, to the conservatory that I talked about, I actually was a double major for a little while in astronomy. So astronomy and music, but the music school is much better than the astronomy school. And also it was just too much physics. I was kind of bored at that point. so so now like the science part, I'm really interested in, just like the things in our solar system, like, and the symbolism that astronomers will put onto like naming new energies in the world. And I just think that is so beautiful, and how we're all like tapped into this like cosmic collective, this collective consciousness with, regardless if you believe it or not, like you're there, my friend.
Yes, yes.
um but then the music part, when I started learning, like being really serious about astrology, I really wanted to really learn about, can I sight read a chart just like I can sight read music, and I can hear how the chart is speaking, and I can hear the harmony of the chart as well from my music background.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I not to brag, but I was also a clarinet player, but when I was much younger. I
Yes.
did not go to college for it. But this because you're right, you're not the first person that I've talked to who's very much tying in like music or any like the arts become so inherent
Yeah.
to our astrological, I guess progress is the word
Yeah.
I'm looking for. Um, okay. So we both went to Norwalk. Have
Yeah.
you, it sounds like with the timeline you might not have been, but have you ever been to UAC before?
I have not. This will be my first time. I'm really
Okay, okay.
excited.
What kind of expectations do you have just based on your other
Yeah.
experiences with astrology conferences?
Well, my only experience is Norwalk, and it was such a wonderful time there. People were amazing and open and generous and just so fun. You could
Mm,
talk to people from all these different lineages of astrology, and just the diversity of not just astrological wisdom, but perspectives. And that's what I'm really interested in, is like, what is your lived experience, and how can you make decisions based on your astrology from that lived experience? So starting to hear the invitations and questions of the stars from your lived experience. And so that's why I like to focus a lot on leadership and
mm.
branding and business development, but how can we do that from the wisdom of our chart?
Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit
Yeah.
more? Like any, I guess, trade secrets you're willing to give up right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so I have a method of looking at astrology for branding. And when I think of branding, it's not about a logo, it's about how we make a memorable impression in the hearts and souls of our people. And so, as astrologers, we are all leaders. Not only are we all astrologers, but we're all leaders. We have power and privilege that we're guiding others. And so, we have to be really tapped into who we are and start to amplify those visible keys like our rising sign, our midheaven, so that we can really attract the opportunities and the people that are waiting for us. And that the more we attune to it, just like we tune our clarinet or our musical instruments, the more we resonate and the more we attract via frequency the people that we are meant to serve.
I love that.
Yeah.
What I guess led you, because there's you've kind of told me the history of this, but
Yeah.
what were the chart indicators, I guess, that started to pop out for you that led to this?
Yeah. So the rising sign, we think about our big three and to understand who we are. But if in the age of Aquarius, now with Pluto firmly in Aquarius, if we're all being asked to lead, well, what are we individually here to contribute to the collective? To me, that's what Pluto in Aquarius is asking us. So if we are all leaders, how do we embody our leadership style? Which for me, starts at the rising sign. That rising
Mm.
sign is so, so, so important. Rising sign, that, the key of the first house, the key of our embodiment, the key of our soul. And when we can fully operate from and initiate and advocate and activate from that rising sign, then we can call in our aligned soul customers, our soul people and platforms, and really create the social change that we want to make in the world. And we all have to contribute at this moment in time.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
We are just about out of time, though.
Yeah.
So, where can any viewers find more about you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. My handle is star powered. And my website is starpowered.com. I also have a YouTube and a podcast. My book, Star Powered, is actually being published. My published date
Oh,
is while we're at UAC. I couldn't have the divine timing. I couldn't have.
that's so exciting. Okay. Okay, that's exciting. I
Yeah.
will have to get myself a copy. I will pop all of that information as well down below. And if you want any more information on Leslie or on any of our other speakers, then you could head over to uacastrology.com. Thank you for joining us today, Leslie.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. You can find new episodes on our channel every Monday and Wednesday, continuing through to the United Astrology Conference in 2026. We also invite you to attend UAC 2026, taking place in Chicago, Illinois from September 3rd to the 9th. As the largest astrological conference in the world, UAC offers an unparalleled opportunity to deepen your astrological studies and connect with a global community. With over 270 lectures, more than 180 esteemed speakers, and 1,500 attendees, this gathering is a cornerstone event for both seasoned professionals and dedicated students of astrology. For details on registration, scholarships, volunteer opportunities, or advertising, please visit uacastrology.com or refer to the links in the description box below.